Hello guys, I'm back at my home planet, feeling good, feeling spiritual, vibes are high. Let me download today's video real quick. Okay. Connection's a bit slow today. I'll have to finally upgrade to premium connection to get these universal downloads quicker. My apologies. The moment we realize that energy is the force of creation, and that our mind is a tool to direct the flow of energy, then we come to realize that the entire quality of our life is directly determined by the quality of the things that we focus our attention on. Because what we focus on, we create. And so if we're always focusing on negative thoughts and worries and fears and shame and guilt, then we create a negative life. And when we focus on things that bring us joy and peace, then that too will be reflected in the quality of our life. This is almost self-evident, but people seem to not have a grasp. They seem to not understand at all. Because if you truly valued your energy and realized that we create what we focus on, then we would no longer focus on 99% of all the nonsense and silliness that we choose to focus on a daily basis. We wouldn't question why we are not successful in the areas that we want to be successful in. Because if we want a certain outcome, we have to focus one-pointedly in that direction for a long period of time. If you plant a garden but stop watering everything a few months into it, then the garden is going to die. The moment you take your attention away from something, the force of entropy begins acting upon it and begins withering it away. And so life is only sustained by where our energy flows. Because this energy, the force of creation, is also the force of life. They say, what you don't use, you lose. Snooze. Don't snooze, don't lose. But what happens with most people, and this is the downfall of the average person, is that not only is their energy, their focus and attention spread in a million different directions, but the quality of what they are focusing on is a lot of the times garbage. We must cut out 90%, 95%, 99% of all the nonsense in our life. Because most of it is just noise. Most of it does nothing but make our life worse. A lot of it is a waste of time. And so people who don't have a clear vision of what they want in life can never achieve a life of their desire. Because the mind will naturally fall to the path of least resistance, and often this means doing what is easiest, engaging in things that don't always serve us, things that feel good now but cost us in the long term. And you can't go anywhere if you don't have a direction. People wake up 30, 40, 50, 60 years old and realize they drifted for most of their life, going nowhere. Most people are not conscious creators of their reality. They give their power to things outside of their control, and therefore they live their life as a slave. Unfortunately. If you live as a conscious creator, you can create any reality that you desire, regardless of the external circumstances. Once you realize that this divine intelligence is actively trying to help you achieve everything that you desire, because it's hard to really say, because the divine intelligence might not necessarily have its own desire, but rather it's living through this body, through this mind, and it's designed to experience things. This divine intelligence that is within us, whether you want to call it simply energy or consciousness or God, it is directing everything anyway, regardless. It is what constructs the mind and directs the flow of energy. It is what calls us to live a certain life and what calls us to surrender. So whatever it is that you desire, the entire universe is conspiring to make sure that reality happens. the issue with the conscious creator side of things, we can sabotage our success. Because the mind is one-pointed and can only focus on one thing at a time, if we begin to waver off the path and focus on something that is negative or something that is not favorable to our life, then we get thrown off course. We might not see success right now, and that is when we surrender and say, success is already guaranteed, because we have the entire force of creation guiding us and helping us along. We just have to get out of the way and not sabotage it, not restrict this flow so much. So there's basically two ways that we live our life, from the perspective of the mind and the perspective of consciousness. Consciousness is being in the present moment, being in a state of no mind and allowing things to be as they are without resistance. And being in a state of the mind is focus and drive in a particular direction to achieve a particular desire. So sometimes we have to take a moment to think about what life we want to live, because we can live any life, but if we do not have a clear vision, then our life will be decided for us, which may be exactly what you want. But see, where most people get absolutely wrecked is that they live in this kind of half-realm thing where they never focus long enough to achieve any success in life generally. But they don't surrender enough to really feel at ease in the present moment. And this is what I call purgatory. It's a very unfavorable state to be in, because life really isn't that good, but it's not really that bad either. It's just like a bland, like a white bread life. That's going to catch on. Watch. Don't live a white bread life. Many people have this calling from within, from our source or our soul, but then we cut it off with the mind. And we say, no, we need to be safe. We need to get a reliable job or live a reliable life, a practical life. And then, I don't know, spend their whole life justifying their actions. But I would say it is the difference between living in the world and just being, which connects you to the eternal. So you have the physical and the eternal. You definitely don't want to be all over here, because then you're living in the animal kingdom and your life is based off of fear and survival and power and control. And so you suffer greatly. And you can be all over here and become a spiritual saint, which might mean going out into the mountains and meditating for the rest of your life and live out the rest of your days in peace and joy. But by integrating both aspects, that is how you live a full life. That is how you reach wholeness. That is why it has been said, you want to live in the world but not of the world. You find the light within you first, and then you can become a beacon of light for many other people. Because the world is almost always shrouded in darkness, that is unconsciousness. Because animals are not conscious, but those who have awakened tap into the eternal, and so they bring the world of infinite potential down into the world of actuality. It's like first we tap into the infinite source, and then we funnel it down to earth for everyone else to enjoy. Those who live in unconsciousness, who have cut themselves off from the source of life, and those who are deeply suffering. And that is how we create heaven on earth.